Hey guys, today I'm going to review the Benchmade / Warren Barrage, and I'm going to be sharing some of my experiences with this knife with you. Let's begin with the specs. The knife has a blade length of a little over 3.5 inches and a handle length a little over 4.5 inches. The overall length is about 8.5 inches and weighs 5.4 ounces, so this is actually a pretty heavy knife for the size. You should be able to find this knife for around $110 more or less. The fit and finish of this knife is excellent, but I wouldn't say flawless. As you can see here in the back, the handle scale doesn't meet the liner quite as it should. It sticks out a little bit. Not sure why. Try to fix that, but if not, it's not really a problem. I would have noticed it if I hadn't been looking for that. Adding on to that, the blade centering is not perfect. And as you can see here, between the liners, the blade doesn't have way too much space for it to move around. So it's almost touching the liner there. You can see it's a little bit to our right now. That way, it should be right there. But once again, I would not have really noticed that if I hadn't been looking for it. This knife features an axis assist locking mechanism with a thumb stud for deployment, a manual lock right here in the back, and a lanyard hole just big enough to fit some 550 paracord in through there. As you can see here, with patience, we can put this in, twisting motion and pushing, and there it is on the other side. There you have it. Just big enough for that, just barely. The blade has a thickness of 4 millimeters and the widest point measures 1 inch right here. The D2 blade has an appearance of a stonewash finish, but in reality, according to something I read, D2 doesn't take much of a shine, so I'm going to call it a satin finish. I don't know if you can tell in this lighting, but yeah, it really does look like it's stonewashed kind of. Looking at the blade, I'm going to rate the geometric strength of this Tanto point excellent, seeing as the force would transfer easily and almost immediately from the tip of the knife to the thickest part of the blade, right here, and then in through the rest of it onto the stop pin. This blade has a flat grind on both at the tip and at the knife edge, where I usually like Tanto points because they combine a flat grind at the tip and a hollow grind at the edge here for good cutting and piercing tasks, like this CRKT right here, M16. You can see it's got a flat grind here, and over here hollow grind. And all of the Recon 1 series knives, all the Tanto points have this too. Flat grind here. This is the micro, by the way. Hollow grind here. Anyways, moving on. I'm gonna rate the ready sharpness of this knife excellent. And to show you on this ugly sticky note right here. Oh, that's ugly. Just a second, let's try that again. There we go. As you can see, I'm going nice and slow. Cuts it very smoothly, even with this part here. Good enough for me. Notice that I've had this knife for about 2 months. I carried it and used it for a month, and I still give it random house tasks here and there when I have to open some mail or something. And the knife really, I have not had to sharpen it yet. Here's some 550 paracord. Here's on the tip. Almost cut through all of it, but I slipped up a little bit. Let's try that again. There it is. Good, there you have it. Anyways, the handle is made out of G10 and has a very grippy diamond pattern. With the simple design of this handle, I feel comfortable in hammer grip, saber grip, reverse grip, and this upside down grip. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but I have had to cut things like this. So you can see the handle is very round, doesn't have hot spots anywhere really, and it's such a simple design that you can hold it like I just showed you in any way, and it's comfortable. Like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. Very ergonomic, excellent. I'd also like to mention this thumb wrap here. It has no jimping, but it's very effective and comfortable. It's kind of slippery, but it helps you engage this lock like this, and then you just kind of keep your thumb there. The lock has some jimping on it, so your thumb does lock onto that a little bit, but back here. The knife does have liners. They are skeletonized to give it strength and also make it as light as possible. Let's see if I can show you guys here. We have some light in the background, so I don't think you're going to be able to see that. Let's try that again. There you go. Now you can see that. Good. Anyways, moving on to deployment and lock details. Once you push hard enough to overcome the strong blade retention, as you can see here, it retains it pretty nicely. That's without the manual lock. We have excellent and effortless deployment speed, as with any spring-assisted knife, with the addition of exceptional lockup due to this axis lock. There's no up and down play, and despite some side-to-side play I had with it when I first got it, it wasn't anything that a little adjustment of the pivot screw inside this G10 scale wasn't gonna fix. Having said that, this knife, to close it with one hand, is not very simple. You have to do something weird like this. It's not impossible, but it's not my favorite either. I'd rather, I don't know, I guess if I practiced enough with it, still not very comfortable. I'd much rather have an axis locking knife that's smooth, opens quickly, and closes quickly. Once again, there's a discontinued Recon one right here. So you can see, smooth to open and to close with one hand. Good. The manual lock of the knife can be engaged in the open or closed position, which I love, by the way. You can engage it closed, and I would recommend to do this for when it's inside your pocket or in your bag or something, wherever you keep this, gym bag, whatever it is. And then you can also engage it in the closed position like this, just to double up that extra strength with this this axis pin here. For example, if you're a mega spring break, I think that's actually a good thing to do, because then you have your lock, it's not going to come undone. Like I said, I would recommend that you engage the lock in the lock position, in the closed position, before you put it in your pocket, because it has happened to me that as I'm drawing the knife out, the thumb stud was caught on a thread from my pants, and it opened like this. And then the pants pulled it more, and it slipped up here, and I let go of it, and it flipped around like this, and it tagged me right in the thumb right here. It's healing. It wasn't very deep or anything, but I'm just saying it could have been worse. It could have come loose from my pants and just gone straight down, landed on my foot like this, and then we would be in a completely different place right now. So yes, I recommend that you engage this, because even though, you know, it's going to be against your pocket, it's going to open inside your pocket, it might open accidentally as you're pulling it out too fast, like I said, getting caught on a thread in your pants or something like that, so be careful of that. Safety first. This knife carries well in the pocket, with a 2-position pocket clip that can be switched between left and right, but only carries tip up. Although I might not really care for tip up or tip down carry. I know some people out there do, and I would like to see 4-position on every knife, because people like options, and sometimes carrying the knife in a vest might be easier to deploy if carried tip down. As for practicality of the knife, I'm willing to say it's an all-around knife that will perform perfectly. The knife has a perfect edge for utility tasks. It's perfect for self-defense and non-lethality, because it works as a deterrent, and even if you don't want to go that far, it works as a great impact tool, still being comfortable in the hand while closed. No matter which way you hold this, like this, like this, like this, the blade doesn't provide that much of a hot spot that your hand's going to be like in trouble after having defended yourself like this. And this is rock solid. This could be lethal if you hit someone in the right place, so also be careful with that. Make sure you're only going for those thick muscular areas that just hurt a lot but are not going to kill anyone. Don't hit people in the head with this, they're probably going to die. For survival uses, I've seen this axis lock prove itself again against chopping and batoning. I wouldn't choose a folding knife as a survival knife, but you don't always get to be picky, and I wouldn't be afraid to use this knife to make a fire if I had to. And finally, combat purposes. This knife is also perfect for this. The G10 offers great grip, and the manual lock will double the strength of the lockup that's already strong enough without it. This is a weapon I would recommend to anyone that I knew was looking for a knife to be deployed with. We now come to the part in the video where I tell you about my personal experience with the knife. My first impression of the knife was that it's much smoother than I expected it to be. I really like the axis and manual lock combination, simplicity and effectiveness of the handle design. But I hate to say that I don't like that you need two hands to close it, or one awkward hand to do so, and it takes forever. Also, from the pictures I saw online before I bought it, I was led to believe for some reason that this back spacer was a bright translucent red, which I thought would look great with a satin blade and the black handle, but actually it's a dull red. It's not even really shiny, but it still looks cool. I'll also add that I didn't like that I had to partially disassemble the knife in order to tighten the pivot screw. I thought the interior pivot screw feature would be cool, but it actually makes it less accessible, and taking off the G10 scales was an awful hassle, which ended up in completely stripped screws and having to order new hardware for the knife, which, I'm going to say also Benchmade has excellent customer service. They took my order, they shipped the screws off to me almost immediately for free. They got here really fast. Finally, I'm going to end off with a story about a time I had to use this at the subway station. It was about 5 in the morning, and I'm headed to the station to take the train to a class I was taking in January. I had my skateboard in one hand, because after the last train I stopped to cover 2 miles before arriving at my destination. So I walk up to the first escalator to head down the station, and a lady standing there looks at me and asks me if I have a knife. And I'm thinking, what the hell? Why does she want a knife? And how does she know I had one? Turns out she was just lucky to ask the right person. And when I asked her what she needed it for, she pointed down at the escalator where her backpack was caught and tumbling all about the escalator. I quickly deployed the knife. She kind of freaked out a little bit, like this. And as I went down the escalator to cut her backpack strap, I put my skateboard down on the escalator to grab her backpack, and I was already one hand short. So I placed it on the escalator hoping it wouldn't roll away, grabbed and cut the backpack. It cut like the nylon like butter, by the way, just so you know, just cut it clean. No resistance at all. And I quickly had to close the knife to put it in my pocket again to be able to pick up my skateboard before it was at the bottom of the escalator, so it wouldn't roll away and no one would slip on it or anything. That's where I handed her the backpack, and she thanked me and explained that all of her valuable possessions were inside there. I don't know, maybe she had like her phone or a camera in there or something. After that, the security walked up to her and asked her if she finally got it, and that's when I was just like, why doesn't this guy have a pocket knife? You're like a security at a train station, it's like one of your main tools. Anyways, whatever, to each his own. Maybe he's not a knife guy like us. The moral of the story is that if I was able to close the knife with one hand, I wouldn't have had to fumble about so much between my skateboard not rolling away, the lady's backpack not falling, and my knife not dropping my knife or anything, or not closing it all the way and put it in my pocket. So, I don't know. That's just something that I felt I needed to say about the knife. I mean, it's a wonderful knife, you know what you're getting into, but I guess I didn't when I bought it. So, great knife, but just not for me, so I'm probably going to be selling it or trading it. Alright, thank you guys very much for listening and watching, and please like, comment, subscribe, and share this if you can. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.